everybody. My name is Victoria and today I'm doing a book review for the book Beach Read by Emily Henry. This book came to me through the Book of the Month subscription, which I have only just signed up for. So this is actually my first Book of the Month read ever, and I'm excited to start reviewing these. I've decided I'm going to probably do a separate book review for each of the Book of the Month books that I read, and my intention is to read them every month as I receive them. So you should be getting a separate book review from me every month for a Book of the Month pick if all goes according to plan. When I was deciding on what book to pick, a lot of them looked really good, but in the current quarantine kind of difficult state of mind that I'm in, I wanted something that I didn't have to think about too hard and that was kind of warm and fuzzy and heartwarming. So I decided to pick Beach Read for that reason, and I will say it gave me pretty much exactly what I wanted out of it. So this book actually ended up really meeting me where I was at and ended up being exactly what I wanted, so I'm excited to talk to you about it today. This book is told from one main character's perspective. We follow a young lady named January Andrews who is in her late 20s, and up until now she has had sort of a charmed life. Everything has been kind of hunky-dory for her. She had a beautiful family, she had a perfect career, her dream life was basically unfolding before her. She had a dream fiance, and then things start to unravel in her life. She has some family drama, and she loses her fiance, and she ends up going to this beach house which she has sort of inherited. And when we meet her, she is going to the beach house so that she can kind of seclude herself and write the novel that she needs to write. She basically has until the end of the summer to finish her novel, and she's drawing blanks. She is hitting a bit of a writer's block. When she arrives to the beach house, however, she is not happy to discover that her next door neighbor is actually her old college rival, and he is very different from her. He writes very different books from her. He is a more literary fiction type of novelist, and she is a romance writer. And so they have some tiffs when they first are introduced to each other, and they sort of start to form a loose friendship slash competitive friendship, and they decide they're gonna switch roles to kind of prove to each other that they can write the other person's genre. So that means that January, who is used to writing happy endings and romance novels, is going to attempt to write a serious literary fiction novel, no happy endings, and she's going to try to dive into this like gritty genre that she's not used to doing. And then our male main character, who his name is Augustus or Gus, he's going to write a romance novel and try to write a book with a happy ending. And so that is sort of where our antics ensue, and that is where our plot starts. I have to say, this book is not necessarily, I think, marketed correctly. I think it's marketed as something a little bit more lighthearted and fluffy than it is, and I ended up really liking this book because it wasn't just like a surface level happy book. There are a lot of deep emotional themes in this book. There's a lot of dealing with trauma, and we follow the characters as each of them is kind of dealing with their own trauma, and we watch as they kind of help each other out of that trauma. And to me, this book just went so much deeper than I expected it to. And I think just the cover alone is very like, oh, this is a easy beach read. You could read it while lying on the beach, right? In reality, it doesn't actually feel like that vibe exactly. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this book for exactly that. And so I think that's what kind of grabbed me and surprised me. First of all, the character depth in this book, I think, is very well done. Emily Henry obviously knows how to write a character with different layers, and I really appreciated that. Both January and Augustus have kind of different complex layers, and I almost, at the beginning, I expected it to maybe just be like the brooding male character who had the depth, but actually January herself also has a lot of depth and is dealing with a lot of things. And I just found like the journey that we went on with January and Gus was really rewarding, and it was nice to kind of grapple with those emotional topics, and I really appreciated that about this book. I thought the characters were very well written, which was one reason why I really liked this. If I had to find a weakness about this book, I would say there are some kind of plot sidelines that we go on to a little bit, and they aren't really, I thought, necessary or developed very well. So if I had to critique it, I did think sometimes the plot had a little bit of meandering going on. Also, the dialogue was something that I enjoyed, but I could see how maybe some people would maybe think it was a little bit cheesy. However, I thought the dialogue was really fun. It's very like witty banter that you would kind of expect to see when you're watching a rom-com, and I found myself smiling and laughing at a lot of it. So I personally enjoyed it, but I've seen some people on Goodreads kind of remark on the cheesiness of the dialogue sometimes. I didn't really think it was cheesy, but maybe something to look out for if you're not into that in books. It might come up, but I didn't think it was that cheesy, honestly. I liked it. Also, I think if you're gonna pick up a book like this, you need to be okay with a little bit of cheesy because it's gonna be there, right? Ultimately, I think if you like character-driven books, I think if you like to kind of unpeel the layers of a character, if you like to watch characters grow, this is definitely a very character-centered book. There are fun, kind of hilarious things that happen, and I thought the plot was very good too. Actually, the plot is what made me pick it up, and I just didn't expect the characters to be that deep, but it was a really pleasant surprise. I think this book is going to be good for someone who likes characters that have several layers, and I think it's going to appeal to you if you like to kind of unpack a character and see the different layers, and I think if you like to watch characters grow, you will like this book. There's also plenty of action, and I felt like the plot did always move forward, even though sometimes I thought we did have kind of these loose strands that would kind of come out of nowhere. But I did think that overall the plot and the characters were really well balanced. The people that they meet, there's kind of a community in this small town where their beach houses are, and we meet some really just charming, heartwarming people that surround them and really like love them and want the best for them, and I just thought that was a really nice touch to the whole atmosphere. It really made me want to go and visit this place. It felt like a real place that I could go to, and it was a really nice escape for me as I am in my house and I cannot leave. It was a nice escapism kind of book, and I had some tears at a few parts. Disclaimer, there is some profanity, there is some steamy romance type of times, so if that's not something you like in your book, just be aware that's in here. It often comes with the territory of rom-com type of stories, and it's not necessarily something that I always love in books, but I did think that it wasn't poorly done in this. It was tolerable. The sexy times are not overpowering the book. It's mostly a story, and it's mostly about the characters, and yeah, there's a little bit of that, but I didn't think it was over the top, and that also made me appreciate this book. Ultimately, for what this book was and how it really surprised me with how much I liked it, I'm giving this 5 stars, and I'm a little bit surprised because I'm not much of a romance reader. I don't have a lot of experience with this genre. It was a good time though, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I devoured this book in like 2 days, so I'm giving this book 5 stars. Take what you will from that. Let me know if you are interested in picking this book up. Let me know if you've read it, if you agree with me or disagree. I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. I hope you're having a great day and that you continue to have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep reading great books, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.